Yeah.
Not knowing.
Could you, since
Sister
you
Yuri,
were,
can you?
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, a little more. Okay, fine.
and she, that's good.
That's
okay.
fine.
Since you were in the crowd that day, with all of those people lined up outside on that very cold day, could you describe the mood of the people out in the streets of Harlem?
Oh, I mean, you could just feel the love and yet the grief. But love and grief go hand in hand. I mean, there would not be grief without love. And you could just feel it from all the people. They were all ages. I mean, old folks, and even young mothers, and even a few, in that cold, there were even a few children. But it seemed like it was people truly unified, you know, because Malcolm brought them together. It was beautiful.
It was like they killed the president. Same vibe.
This thing, Sister Ella saying, that Malcolm left the leadership to her. People being around Malcolm for all that time, realizing how important that work that they had set out to do, how important that was. What is your feeling? It seems petty to me. It seems petty to me that people that were around this great man and this great man being shot down, that was trying to do this great work. It seems petty to me that they can let a triviality such as a woman coming and saying that the group should be run by her now would allow themselves to leave the group for that reason, and the work suffer because of that. What is your feeling behind that? What do you feel about that? People leaving away because, and not...
Wait a minute. Are you saying that the ones who are leaving are the ones who are doing the wrong thing, or do you think Sister Ella shouldn't have done it, or wait?
Well, regardless if Sister Ella shouldn't have did it or not, it seems to me that the work is the most important. The people is the most important thing. And I wanted to get.
In other words, what he's saying is, why couldn't people put aside their petty differences to move the organization forward?
Right. I think it was sad that OAU seemed to just, I don't know, pass into, what's the word? Oblivion. When I think the OAU could have become a unifying organization, the kind that Malcolm really wanted, because he said we're not oppressed because we are Muslims or Baptists or communists or what, but because of the color. And he wanted to have a group like OAU. The reason why he organized OAU was because he felt Muslim Mosque Incorporated was too narrow. It was only for Muslims. And he needed one where any black person could feel at home, to be able to struggle together with other black people. And I think it is sad. And whether, I mean, I don't know, I don't want to just blame male chauvinism, but I think part of it was definitely male chauvinism, that they did not want to follow a woman leader. Maybe if it happened today, 35 years later, they wouldn't feel that way because they see women, now being thrust into leadership positions. But I think that was one of the saddest things, that actually OAU was a predecessor to, the Black Panther Party and all the other groups, and had some of the very similar, the Panther 10-point program, that I think maybe, I'm not saying that the Panthers, utilized some of those ideas, because I don't even know if they knew about each other. But the similarity shows the objectives of black liberation would be the same no matter where.
Now, just along that same line on the women, I don't want to get away from that. Lynn Shiflett, was it, that was in charge of the OAAU, right? You remember Lynn Shipley?
See, I didn't know. I kept hearing about her name all the time, and I just feel so bad that, again, there, but I don't know enough about,
But I just wanted to say that, in a way, you said that it may have worked today, but it didn't work then, but it says something about Malcolm and his perception of women.
Yes.
And how it grew.
Yes. Oh, absolutely, he changed. There was a time, I think, that Malcolm would have put women as secondary in leadership position. But I think when he went to Africa and went to countries where they were having liberation struggles, and he saw the kind of positions that women had there in liberation struggles, he knew then that here in America, that there has to, that the black struggle itself has to open the way for black women.
That's why, like they said, Islam was a male-dominated religion.
Oh, yes.
Said that had a lot to do with it too. Even though those co-area members were in it, they
Yeah.
were still former Muslims. You
Oh,
understand?
definitely.
It's important.
And with the just the Black Panther Party, most of the leadership themselves, they recognized and had no problem, telling anyone that they recognized Malcolm as their ideological
Right.
father.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they
Oh,
had no
absolutely. Oh, yes.
Could you describe, you are one of the survivors of the Malcolm X organization, and I would like for you to describe for us the crisis in leadership that has developed between 1965 and 1997.
Yes, there is a crisis in leadership. Well, I think the 60s was a very unusual period where some of the most, needful kind of thinking was taking place. I mean, to define the black struggle, even to define themselves as black people, who comprises black people. And even, back then there was all this thing about difference of color and whether you were from the Caribbean or Deep South or what, there were problems, right? And Malcolm was trying to bring everybody together, that we are one. And the whole diaspora, the black diaspora, that the struggle has always been the same for liberation. But today, I don't know really what, but I feel too there's, maybe it's a struggle for, I don't want to say struggle for power and struggle for recognition for some people, but I think what's missing would be, there isn't the high principles, I don't think, or even this whole thing about morals. People don't think it as important. And I think to Malcolm, these were things that were important. And I think if we could go back right to the nitty-gritty to build the strongest kind of foundation. And so then you have to think not so much always of the whole struggle or a black nation, but in each individual has to transform himself to the best that he or she can. And in doing so, every person can transform a little bit of the circle of, whether circle of people that they touch or just the society that they touch. And if they could start from the rock bottom, that each one improve themselves. And I think people have to go, just like Malcolm, beyond, if we're talking about Harlem, we have to go beyond Harlem. Malcolm went beyond Harlem. He went beyond black nationalism. Then he went to Africa and he became a Pan-Africanist, but he knew that that wasn't enough, and so he went on to become an internationalist, a revolutionary internationalist. And I think if everybody could start at the beginning, first just with themselves, to improve their own, their own selves as just an individual. And as an individual, they could touch others. People will see, well, gee, look at that person, how just that one person could touch people and change someone's life. And I think that's the kind of thing that has to happen. But I think right now is so much this thing called power, power, power. Unfortunately, a lot of the same people who are always talking about what we need is power, and not that we need more than power, we need just things like human decency. And I mean, really a feeling of love for one another, respect for one another. I mean, I don't know, this thing about power just sort of turn, I don't mean it turn, people need power in order to get anywhere, yes, to determine one's destiny. But before you think about power, I think we have to think really about the little things that we as each individual can build on, and I hope maybe that kind of thing will happen. That's the kind of leadership I think we need, not those who just want a lot of glory and a recognition, you know, and newspaper, whatever, you know, acclaim.